What is up, FBG fam? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Genshin Impact video and welcome back to another episode of the unofficial podcast for Genshin Impact, the world's #1 unofficial podcast for Genshin Impact, sponsored by Gamer Subs. GG Subs, there's a link in the description down below. Go ahead and click on that link, gives you 10% off the entire store. Go ahead and grab yourself some of those spicy waifu cups as well as some merch, and also grab yourself some GG Subs as well, so when you're playing the game, you're grinding, you can stay up all day. Also, there's caffeine free that's going to be coming out relatively soon, so you can be excited for that if you want some caffeine free products. Great tasting products, they are amazing, so go ahead and grab yourself some. Make sure you use Further Beyond Gaming at checkout so you get that 10% off. Thank you, Gamer Subs, for sponsoring this podcast. And we have my co-host, officially co-host, back on the podcast. Cameo, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. We obviously have a lot to go over today, per the usual for most of these podcasts. We usually have a lot to go over, but in honesty, there's a lot that we have to talk about, and I think we should jump straight into it. But before we do, I do want to say that today is officially the 1-year anniversary for Genshin Impact. So I wanted to take the opportunity and really quickly take the time out to just thank everybody for all the support that they provided me here on the channel. Specifically for the year of support, it's been incredible. Genshin Impact as a whole for the channel has been incredible. And if it wasn't for you guys supporting the channel for the entire year, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. Being able to do the things that we're doing right now. Whether it be you subscribing to the channel, liking the videos, sharing the videos, supporting during the live streams, whatever the case may be, with your memberships and your donations. I just want to take the time to say thank you guys for the year of support. It has been mind-blowing, to say the least. So thank you guys for that. I just wanted to make sure I take the opportunity to say that. And indeed, it is the 1-year anniversary officially today. And as a whole, it's not, for me, it's not a good one, Cameo. I'm not happy today.
There's definitely a lot of broken hearts this morning.
I'm not happy today. So just quickly, we're going to go over some of the topics that we're going to talk about. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the 1-year anniversary today, what we see right now. We're also going to talk about Genshin Burnout for content creators and just players of the game in general. And we're going to talk about the state of Genshin Impact as well. So we got a lot to unpack today, and we're going to jump straight into it. So first and foremost, we talked about this in the last podcast. People thought today there was going to be an anniversary live stream. You and I went on the record on stating that we don't believe it was going to happen. And if it did, don't expect too much, right? That was pretty much the gist of the last podcast on what we talked about. And lo and behold, nothing happened today. There was no live stream. There was no big rewards. We got the login. And I'm going to touch on the login really quickly. I'm going to touch on the login because this really upsets me. It really upsets me, Cameo. I'm not happy today, man. I'm not happy today. And it's quite unfortunate because this is the 1-year anniversary. We should be having a big celebration. It should be a big bash. And then this is going to segue into the topic we're going to talk about next about Burnout. But Cameo, why is the login not a normal occurrence in the game? Can you answer me that question?
Like a monthly kind of thing?
Yes, exactly. Why is this just not a normal thing that we receive on a monthly basis?
MiHoYo is really about their money. So, they don't want to give us anything good. They want to starve us for orbs, make us have to work for every little thing. And yeah, that seems like that's just how they are.
And that's why I wanted to start the podcast by being somewhat positive and just thanking the players, because I know after that and moving forward now with this podcast, I'm going to be really upset, and I'm going to be honest with everybody that's watching. I'm going to be really upset. And so I wanted to get that out of the way first, because if I didn't, I might forget, and then I'd be upset, and then you know how that goes. The login. What upsets me the most about this login, let me clarify. This is I'm happy that they're doing this. Let me clarify that first and foremost. I'm happy that they're doing this. What upsets me is, one, this should be a normal occurrence every month. This should just be routine. And then secondly,
Exactly.
with it supposed to be routine, this shouldn't be advertised and highlighted as something great that we should be getting for the anniversary and we should be thankful for.
Exactly.
That upsets me the most, Cameo. I'm already starting. I'm starting off early today, man, because I'm upset for what I saw when I woke up today and what everybody's been posting and saying and going on about. And I knew I was gonna wake up and I knew this was gonna happen, Cameo. And we talked
Exactly.
about it in the last podcast, and I was hoping I was gonna be wrong. And of course, I was not saying I'm right about everything, because I'm wrong about a lot of things, but Cameo, this freaking login reward should be a normal occurrence that is routine, that we're all used to, because it's not too much to ask for this company, this developer.
Right.
And then secondly, you should not be advertising this as a anniversary to be thankful for and be happy that I gave you these intertwined fates and a couple of hero wits that are not even enough to do anything for a character. And Mystic Enhancement ores and what is that? 80,000 more. That infuriates me the most, Cameo. It infuriates me the most that this is probably by far the best thing that we've gotten outside of Aloy, which you mentioned in the last podcast ain't really an anniversary reward because not everybody got to get it right off the bat.
Right.
And double top up. I just don't understand. Who is in MiHoYo as a who is behind? Who is the person that is in charge of giving out rewards? I want to know who that is.
And the funny thing is, even though I was saying don't get your hopes up for anything happening on anniversary, I had a tiny bit of hope. A tiny bit. I was hoping I was wrong. I really was. I thought I would wake up and inside of my inbox I would see happy anniversary, have a 5-star on us. We got none of that. I actually woke up and I saw Primo Gems in my inbox, but that was just because I did that garbage events last night and I forgot to claim my or my gems.
It's Cameo. I get so frustrated, and there's very little, there's very little times where I want to be wrong about things, right? I'm very prideful. I'm very someone who is very prideful on being correct, knowing my stuff, and not being wrong. I pride myself on doing that. But there was this one occasion where I was hoping what we talked about in the previous episode of the podcast, which if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's great. Where I was hoping I was wrong. And I was hoping that I would be having people all up and down my comment section of that last podcast saying, you don't know what you're talking about. We're getting this live stream. We're getting these great rewards. And damn it, I would have hearted every one of those comments and said, you know what? I am so happy I'm wrong. I mentioned that last time as well.
Yep.
And I wake up today and I wake up to this lazy, it's such a slap in your face login, which like I mentioned should be just a normal thing that happens anyways. And then I wake up to these, I'm looking on Twitter hoping that I see something and I see this unforgettable journey web event, which I'm not participating in. I mentioned that right before we went live here. I'm not participating in. And that's just my own thing. You guys, I hope you do participate. So at least you get something. And that's it. That's all I'm seeing, Cameo. That's all I'm seeing when I'm scrolling through this Twitter and this Genshin Impact anniversary story submission event. I can't give any more energy to this. It is so it's so disheartening.
Yeah, and we have that really bad daily login on Hoyo Lab website, right? The stuff that we're getting for this anniversary should just be stuff that's just regularly in that kind of thing. It shouldn't be a celebration.
The things,
or it should be for a celebration.
The things that they're providing us with the Hoyo event, the login, those things that they're providing us, that they're trying to pass off as anniversary worthy, the celebration, be thankful, be happy are normal things that we should have been getting this entire year leading up to this point, that we should be getting already again for the anniversary, and then some on top of that.
Exactly.
I've never been so frustrated at an anniversary in my life, in any game that I've been a part of.
All right.
And this is one of the most successful games in the entire genre of any, I mean, not even in the genre, Cameo. We're talking about, if you go on the PlayStation Store, in general, in gaming in general, this is one of the most successful games of all time.
Yep.
And we get this half-ass, lackluster anniversary that can't even be titled an anniversary because it's so terrible. I just can't, Cameo. I can't do it.
Did you see that that video they put out last night?
No, what? No. Yeah, well, I seen that they posted something. I didn't get the chance to actually watch it. Was it just like, was it another like celebratory thank you for supporting the game? Was it one of those things?
Basically, it was supposed to be like,
Being
I thought it was gonna
thankful.
be like, yeah, I thought it was gonna be like a something like going through our journey and showing us all this great achievement that we did.
Right.
So I expected it to be a pretty long video.
Right.
It's basically a 1 minute long commercial. Advertising
I'm
the
so
game.
frustrated. I'm beyond frustrated at this point. I'm beyond frustrated. It's literally baffling. I'm struggling to find words now, Cameo, to like articulate how frustrated I am with this whole entire anniversary and the debacle it has been, the backlash, and the worst part about it is they're not even acknowledging how god awful this anniversary is, how upset people are. Like they're not even stating anything. They're not even apologizing. They're not like, hey, we thought what we were providing for whatever reason was going to be good enough, but apparently it was not. We messed up. Sorry. We're gonna make it right. We're gonna give you guys the rewards that you deserve.
And they need to address it too, because the community is on fire right now.
I'm on fire, Cameo. I'm on fire, man. I'm so heated. I'm so pissed off because this is so blatantly. It's just like so in your face, bad.
Yep.
We're gonna segue into the next topic because if I literally spend any more, and this actually ties into what we're gonna talk about next about the burnout. If I spend any more time here, Cameo, I'm not gonna be able to finish this podcast. I'm gonna be honest with you. So let's go into the next topic about burnout, because that's a thing that we're seeing. It's pretty prevalent right now, and it's with content creators but normal players of the game alike, right? Both content creators and just people that play the game that don't make content are now starting to get burnt out. But Cameo, this isn't the first time that people have quit the game, or it has been like a prevalent thing. I think this happened right before Inazuma, like around 1.5, 1.6. Am I correct on that? Where we had like content creators and people getting burnt out and quitting the game and whatnot?
Yeah, definitely around then.
Like, I think this was around when like certain content creators, like I think the most prevalent one that I can think of is like Damone Kim. Like right before Inazuma, which was crazy because he was so excited about it, if I'm not mistaken. Like right before then he quit. That was like one of the bigger ones. But then there were like other smaller content creators that posted videos about, you know, they're done with the game because they saw the 1.6 live stream and it was much more of the same. And you know, so this isn't the first time this happened, but now we're starting to see it reoccur again. And so let me get your thoughts, because Cameo, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I do apologize if I am. Have you made content in the past, like, or have you done content like consistently?
No, I've never made content before.
Okay.
But I can sympathize with those who do.
Okay, well, and this is perfect because we're having both sides, right? Me as a content creator, and then you as a player that can sympathize with content creators, but also you're very dedicated to the game. You play the game. You know the ins and out of it. So give me your thoughts really quickly. Give me your opinions on this whole burnout situation that we're having once again, and some people quitting the game, and what's your take on all of that?
It feels like it's coming from the lack of content, right? Because there's not very much to do in the game aside from doing your dailies and using up your resin. After that, you're pretty much done in the game, right? Unless you want to like go and farm some materials, those belt buckles, because you're gonna spend a long time doing that,
right?
There's nothing really fun to do in the game. So for content creators, I can understand why they're feeling burnt out, because they're having to try and make something work out of barely anything.
Right.
You have content creators like streaming, but not really finding much to stream. They're like, like I said, farming stuff or just running around, not really doing much of anything because there's nothing to do.
Right. And I agree with you 100%. And that's one of the issues with the game, and that's an issue that's been talked about. That's a well-known issue, especially for content creators, especially for content creators that this is their full-time job. This is what they do for a living, especially if they're live streaming for hours. This game is very difficult to make content on, especially when you run through everything and there's not anything else to do except going around and just trying to gather materials or whatever the case may be, whether that be crystal chunks or the belt buckles or specters. But that's not entertaining content, right? That's very boring content. And as a content creator, you don't want to ever be boring. So when you're doing things like that are not necessarily entertaining, you're now having to give more energy to try and make it entertaining. And when you're doing that on a constant basis, and now this is coming from a content creator perspective, just me on what I know and what I do and what I've experienced, is that when it's not entertaining, when it's boring stuff that you're doing, you're now having to try and devote more energy to make it entertaining. And when you're doing that on a constant basis, that can get very taxing after a while, especially if you're trying to do daily uploads to 1 or 2 videos a day, maybe even 3. After a while, that starts to accumulate and that starts to build up, and then that starts to get very, very taxing. And then when there's really nothing to do in the game, and now you're trying to be super creative because you need to push out some type of content, but there's nothing really to push out, so you have to come up with something, and you have to make sure it's entertaining, and you have to make sure people want to watch it. That gets very taxing as well, and then that starts to build up over time. Now, I'm not a full-time content creator by any means. I do have a full-time job. Just in case you guys aren't aware of my background, I have a full-time job that I work 40 hours a week. But the effort that I put into the channel, and if you guys been on the channel, when I say effort, I mean me trying to emulate being like a full-time content creator, because I do my very best to try and do daily, videos. I try and stick to a streaming schedule at least 3 times a week, and that will be, even so, the days that I stream, I even try and push out a video as well, on top of still working, and I have a wife and I have a kid, so I'm just extremely busy, and I'm trying to emulate being a full-time content creator, because that's eventually my goal at some point in time. I do want to go full-time. That's my passion. This is what I love to do. Right? Got a podcast going, the world's #1 unofficial podcast, right? So I can speak from experience in stating that it can get very taxing, and the amount of energy and effort, and we're not even talking about just creating content and live streaming, which is more than what most people can really understand. When you're trying to live stream and you're trying to bring the energy and you're trying to be entertaining all the time, especially if you do that daily, that can be taxing. But then if you're making content and you're editing your own videos, you're making your own thumbnails, you're posting it yourself, all of that takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort. And then you got a game like Genshin Impact where it's not popping all the time. There's not always something super exciting going on. So now you have to be super creative and try and come up with different things and make sure whatever you're doing is relevant and interesting to the masses. After a while, and then you got to deal with, you know, either, especially if you're a bigger content creator, dealing with hate, dealing with negative comments, reading those negative comments. Like for a lot of content creators, they can brush that to the side because they understand that's what they signed up for. They know that's going to happen. And I've come to you guys before in the Discord and talked to you guys about some negative comments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, I'm a grown individual, and I have lived life a little bit, so I'm good at taking comments. I'm good at ignoring comments. I'm good at being sarcastic with people. I'm good at brushing it off or responding respectfully, and I'm good at understanding both sides of the coin. But there are some people that aren't, and there's some people where those negative comments start to build up after a while.
All right.
And that's all to say that all of that can lead to burnout, and people get burnt out for different reasons. There's various different reasons on why people can get burnt out. And Camby, I'll be honest with you, I did at one point in time. You remember that little stint I had where I was posting a bunch of MHA content on the channel?
I remember that.
And I didn't log into Genshin for like a week.
Yep.
You know, because I was a little burnt out. I'll be honest.
Sometimes you just gotta take a break.
You sometimes just have to take a break.
You gotta do what's best for your mental health, but at the same time, Genshin doesn't really make it very easy for free-to-play players to just take a break, because you're so dependent on getting those primo gems every single day that if you take a break, let's say you took a break back in 1.3. And then you see Raiden Shogun, can't talk today. Then you see Raiden Shogun in 1.2 or 2.1, right? You decide to come back at the beginning of 2.1, and you just missed all those primo gems you would have gotten before. So now you come back to the game and you don't have enough resources to even get the character you want.
Right.
So as a free-to-play player, it's very difficult to just stop playing when you're so dependent on those orbs you're given. Or gems are given. I keep getting my currencies mixed up.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I agree. Like with free-to-play players and light spenders, it can be a little more difficult to try and stop when you're dependent on those resources and you're dependent on getting those little bit of primos that they do provide you. Which, man, okay, I got to talk about it because this actually leads into this. When there's lackluster rewards. And there's half-ass rewards that we've received so far, all the way up leading up to this anniversary and including this anniversary. That is a huge demotivator for a lot of people as well. To play the game, to continue playing the game, and that could be the reason why some people quit. Also, and I can understand the reasons why is when you dedicate yourself so much to the game. Especially if you spent some money in the game and then you get these half-ass lackluster rewards and events that they don't last that long, they're not all that great. It could really be demotivating, and it could really have people not want to continue playing the game when they're rewarded this way, especially as a free-to-play player or light spender. And they don't even get enough to you know, guarantee a character or to get a character or get enough resources to level up any characters. Exactly. That could be a huge demotivator.
Yeah, it's mentally exhausting.
And it could be the reason why a lot of people quit the game or not want to continue playing the game. And I think Anniversary, for a lot of people, I think that's why we're seeing this right now, was like the last straw. Like, people are like, I'm going to hold out to Anniversary. And damn it, they better show out. And if they don't, then I'm done with this game. And I'm not going to continue playing it. I'm not going to continue supporting it. Because why would I?
All right.
And then you come out with this stupid login. You come out with these stupid events. You come out with no rewards for Anniversary. You come out with these things that don't matter for the individuals. And people are like, I'm done. I'm not playing it anymore. Why am I going to continue playing this game when the developers obviously don't care about us? They don't want to give us the rewards that we deserve. They don't want to celebrate the anniversary that we should be getting.
Exactly.
And they're like, the hell with it. I will go play a game that will actually reward us, that will show their appreciation for supporting them this whole time.
Right. And I've seen a lot of talk about people saying that anniversary isn't a reason to quit the game. And I agree. Anniversary is just a little thing on the side. But it's the accumulation of things that have been going wrong in the community that will make people want to quit the game.
Exactly. And I agree that if you love this game, like I do, like I know Cameo does, and a lot of other people, especially content creators, if you love the game, anniversary shouldn't be the reason why you quit. But the thing is that, like you said, this was an accumulation leading up to this point right here. And a lot of people, for example, for a lot of people, Inazuma was like, I'm gonna hold out until Inazuma. And if Inazuma flops, then I'm done. Right? That was, and to be honest with you, Inazuma kind of slapped, and it was nice, and it was really cool. It felt refreshing. And so people were then like, okay, and then we started getting into it a little bit more, and it's like, okay, damn, it's kind of much of the same that we got going on right now after a while. So now they're like, well, I'll hold out to Anniversary. And if Anniversary doesn't slap, if it's not a big celebration, if I don't get the appreciation that we all deserve, then that's it. I'm done. And to be quite honest with you, I don't blame anybody if this was the last straw for them.
Right.
I tell you what, Cameo, this was the last straw of me defending MiHoYo. That's for damn sure. I've gotten so many comments in the past about me like defending MiHoYo and defending what they do, and it wasn't so much me defending MiHoYo, but just trying to understand what they're doing and trying to understand and hold out and be like, listen, they're gonna do us right. But bro, listen, after this, unless they show out in some other way, I really can't, man. I can't defend what they do anymore, and I won't. It's just
exactly.
It's frustrating, and that's why people get burnt out. And like I mentioned, it's for multiple different reasons why people can get burnt out within Genshin Impact. For content creators, it can be negative comments, it could be lack of content, it can be, you know, the developers. It could be a number of different reasons on why they can be burnt out. You know, for everybody knows about the Tectone situation. For him, it seems as if, I don't want to speak for him, I don't want to speak on his behalf, but it seems as if it was, you know, the community, negative comments, people taking things out of context, and things of that nature.
Right.
For others, it was, you know, the lack of content and not enough content to be able to make content on, and having these lull periods. But to be quite honest with you, in gacha games, this happens, and it's understandable. But at the same time, you know, you start to couple other things into it, and then it boils over for some people.
Exactly.
And so the burnout's real, man. The burnout's real, and I admitted it just earlier that I too got burnt out, and I had to step away, and I had to take my time, and then I came back refreshed. The Ride and Choking gave me some energy, pun intended, and I'm good. And listen, to be quite honest with you, Cameo, man, this podcast might be my saving grace. I love this podcast. I get to vent my frustrations and anger. I get to be very opinionated on here, and I get to just shoot the shit. And another thing, I think another thing that can get people burnt out as well is the community. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the community, and my community specifically is one of the best in all of Genshin. I do have to say, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. I mentioned that on my previous live stream. But there are some parts of the community, especially within Genshin Impact, that is very... Bro, they're very particular. And for a content creator, that can be tough, man. That can be tough to deal with on a daily basis, especially if you're a content creator that does guides, that does math, and you're not right about something.
Oh.
You will not hear the end of it. What were you gonna say?
No, I was saying they're coming for you if you make a mistake.
No, they're coming for you, and they're coming for your throat, and they won't let you live it down, and that's where it can be tough. Some people can't deal with that, and I was getting a lot of that when I was making my Ride and Choking content. you know, and I was just giving my opinions on things and trying to be as accurate as possible. And that whole Beto situation, I mean, people, they're ruthless, Cameo. They are ruthless. And for a lot of people, they can brush that off for a little bit. But after a while, if that continues and all the dislikes, and after a while as a content creator, you're like, forget it, man. I'm done. I'm not doing it no more. And there was a point in time where I didn't want to do guides anymore. Once again, that's why I love that's why I love this podcast. Because it gives me a different outlet. Because when you do guides and you get something wrong, or you're giving your opinions on something, or you're trying to help, you're always gonna have those individuals that are gonna come in and, you know, either be rude, disrespectful, or say something super negative, or you're clickbaity, whatever the case may be, man. And after a while, you can ignore it for a little bit of time, but it just kind of boils over, and it can get to you. So
Definitely.
it's tough. I mean, as a player of the game, have you felt that burnt out as well?
Sort of. The most I've ever felt burnt out in Genshin Impact is when I had to farm for the belt buckles for both Ayaka and Raiden Shogun, and they don't
That's
give you
rough.
much, and it is probably the hardest grind in the game right now, and I definitely felt a little bit burnt out after that. But aside from that, Genshin Impact isn't it's my main game, my favorite game, but I do also play other games on the side. So once I finish doing that little bit I can do in Genshin, I'm pretty much done for the day, and I go play something else. And I think that's a pretty good way to manage that burnout.
Right, and I think I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I think that's super important for people to understand, is that Genshin can be your main game, Genshin can be your favorite game, and it's a fantastic game, but have side games, because Genshin is not a no-life game. Genshin's not a game that you should be spending every waking moment doing, because there's not enough to do that, and it's extremely repetitive and monotonous after a while, especially if you run through the events. Like this, Cameo, this Merriment event that they just dropped, this Moonlight Merriment.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, I before people misunderstand me, I like this event. I do. I like it. I think it's great. But Cameo, why is this the only event that we have for anniversary currently going on right now?
I didn't even think this is an anniversary event. It's just an event that we got, just happened to coincide with the anniversary, isn't it?
Why is everything that we get is just something to coincide with anniversary? Why is that being the case right now? Why is that a thing? Why don't we have more of what is going on here, man? I'm in my event tab right now. It's the anniversary, right? Let me check. The 28th of September. It's the anniversary. I'm scrolling through my events. Bro, this Moonlight Merriment is the only damn event that's going on. And I burnt through that thing yesterday, and the reason why I did that is because I wanted the tuna, and I wanted to do a video on the tuna right away, but other people I know burnt through that already.
Definitely.
And then, like, every other event in Genshin, it's on a timer, so then you have to wait for the next part to happen. But why is this the only thing? Why isn't there a bevy of events going on? Why isn't there multiple different things going on right now to where people are just getting rewards aplenty, and they're enjoying their time, they're in the game, they're having a good time. We got a massive banner going on right now. We should be having step up multis. People should be deciding on what character they're getting for free, what constellation they're opening on what character, because they got that material for free.
Exactly.
Instead, content creators are struggling to figure out what to make content on the 1-year anniversary.
And that definitely should not be happening. There should be so much content on the anniversary.
What is going on? People and content creators are struggling. Cameo, be honest with me. Be honest with me right now. how many content creators you seen just recently within the last like day or two make the same content, make the same thing, the same video, and tell me what that video is that you've seen mostly.
Mostly it's about the anniversary.
Exactly. And you know, whether they're quitting or not.
Yeah.
Or the reason for the burnout. Why are we having this conversation? Why is that the only content you see coming from Genshin content creators on the 1-year anniversary?
And it's not just because it's a hot topic right now. It's because it's the only topic
It's
right
the only... Damn it, Cammy, I love you on this podcast. It's the only content that content creators can make right now. That's why we're talking about it. Because it's the most prevalent thing in this podcast, just in case you guys are unaware. On this podcast, we talk about relevant topics. We talk about topics that are trending in Genshin right now. And this is what we have to talk about. And it's you know what should have been relevant right now? You know what we should have been talking about? You know what should have been popping and what the podcast should have all been about? How great the rewards are. How awesome that live stream was. What S rank character or 5-star character you're picking? Which one's the best one to pick? What constellation should you be opening on one of your characters because of that material that you got?
Exactly. You should have too much to do right now.
You should have too much to do and too many decisions to make and how great and all the events that we got.
Exactly.
Yet we're here talking about people quitting the game, content creators getting burnt out, and the developers being stingy, lackluster, half-ass with these rewards. We're moving on. We're moving on to the next topic. This segues into the state of Genshin Impact. Kemi, we're good at segueing, right? We're good at we're good at transitioning to different topics. It's so frustrating. The state of Genshin Impact. Where is it at right now? Well, I think from what we talked about, it's not so great. Cameo, give me your opinions. What do you think? And be honest with me.
Yeah, definitely from things like the anniversary, you can tell that it's not really in a good state. But not even just that. The story feels kind of subpar. The end game is non-existent. We have a big world with nothing to do, and we have abandoned areas. And this is my favorite game, and I struggle to understand why.
I felt when you said that just now, I felt that actually hit me in the gut when you said that just now. Because the reality is one, you're right, and two, that's sad. All at the same time. You're right, and that's sad. All at the same time.
Yeah.
And the state of Genshin Impact, especially after, it's so mind-blowing to think that after Anniversary, Genshin Impact's in a worse state than it was before. It's mind-blowing to think that Anniversary actually made the state of Genshin Impact even worse. And the reason is for everything that you just mentioned, Cameo. We have this fantastic world where the story is starting to seem rushed and not a huge focus. The characters that we received as of late, outside of the Raiden Shogun, me being unbiased in my opinion, have been not well thought out. Let me say this: Ayaka, Yoimiya, the Raiden Shogun, I think we're perfectly fine. And to me, it's just, I don't know. To me, it's just Kokomi. They just feel like they have. I'm not going to talk about it because I talked about it too much already. The events, the rewards, this awesome world that we have that just seems empty.
Yeah, very empty.
Content creators getting burnt out. Regular players of the game wanting to quit. Free-to-play players and light spenders suffering because the rewards are so half-assed. They're so minute. They're so garbage. Cameo. I can't give any more energy to that.
And one thing I do want to say is, I know people are going to say, oh, the story is actually really good, but I'll agree. There are some very good moments in the story, but the story, how it's delivered as a whole, isn't that good. Um, it's like, and I'm not saying that it's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's like having someone. It's like having the Marvel Cinematic Universe, all those movies, and then having someone summarize it for you rather than watching it. That's how the story in Genshin Impact feels right now.
Especially
It feels
the
like
last
there's
half.
so much missing.
Right.
Yeah, it feels like there's so much missing. Like we did one mission with Swordfish too, and I don't even think that was actually a mission. Everything is
We were the captain of Swordfish 2 all of 2 minutes. What was the point of
exactly,
even being the captain of Swordfish 2?
exactly. It makes no sense.
Tepe they just threw to the side without a proper ending to him. We didn't even get to revisit that, by the way.
I'm pretty sure he died.
Well, I know he died, but you know, he talked about the uniform. We were supposed to come back with the uniform. They just Tepe they just left on the side of the shed, and just let him stay just rot there.
Right.
Like
And the thing
I
about
just don't
that
think
is,
it was a proper send off for him.
yeah, and the thing about that is, it was supposed to get this kind of emotional response, and it kind of did because of that thing we are talking about with the uniforms. But if you really think about it, we knew Tepe for all of 45 minutes before he died.
But the thing is that Tepe was more integral to the story than Kokomi was, in my opinion.
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely.
Tepe should have been the 5-star character that we got after Raiden Shogun. It's just it feels like they definitely rushed the last half of the story. They could have definitely they definitely could have made that much longer. They could have went
Right,
way more into detail, went way more in depth about it, and I feel like they just wanted to rush it out, like they rushed out Kokomi, like they rushed
right.
out this second half of Inazuma in a sense. And
And here,
go ahead.
and here's something to consider too. With the end of Inazuma, we are basically almost halfway through the entire story of Genshin Impact. Let that sink in. We're a year into the game, and we're almost halfway through the entire story, and this game's supposed to last for 10 years.
I see a lot of filler content in
Exactly.
our immediate future, and the thing about it is that we're coming towards the end of this patch, right? And we're gonna segue into what appears to be, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not too sure, but it appears that we're segueing into a lot of reruns, and a
Yeah.
lot of you know back when that first Burnout people quitting ban wave was happening, when we were just kind of sitting there twiddling our thumbs and doing a lot of mini games.
Yeah.
I feel that coming back after this patch.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like we're going to be twiddling our thumbs, and this is going to be the state of Genshin Impact off the heels of this horrendous anniversary. We're going to be rerun ban, which, by the way, the rerun banners I know people are hyped for, so which they were hyped about the previous ones, but in terms of events and what we're going to be doing, I think it's going to be a lot of mini games. I think it's going to be a lot of 15-minute occupying your time and twiddling your thumbs and figuring out what you're going to do for the next, half an hour after you
Right.
burn your raisins and you done your normal stuff. And that's
And here's
not
the
that's not good, Cameo. That's
definitely
not
not.
good, man. In the state that we're in right now.
And here's the thing. I don't think people even really care about the events, right? It's just a source of primo gems, right? Because I can't think of a story that I actually enjoyed doing in Genshin Impact for the events.
It's just after a while, especially this one, like these events all seem to be just like very similar now. They all seem to
Right.
be relatively the same thing. Like with this merriment one where you get the tuna, you're just fighting and then you move on to the next section, fighting. There's no difficulty, there's no There's no you don't have to think about it too much. You use your same OP team that you built up for no damn reason outside of Abyss to do the same things, to grab some primos, to grab some decent rewards. Cameo, man. It's tough, man.
Definitely.
It's tough.
And that's one of the things that actually hit me a while back when I was building a team for Eula. It was, why are we building teams again? Because what are we using them for? Like, I have a Eula team, but when am I going to use it, right? You're thinking maybe the Abyss, but in the Abyss, I'm going to take what I need for the team, regardless of what team I made for them, right?
Right. It doesn't matter. For example, my last video I just put out, I'm using a level 60 tuna, and I am clearing the content with little to zero difficulty. Not even I'm literally commentating, recording the video, not even thinking about what I'm doing, and I'm winning with zero to little difficulty, and I just don't have to think about it because our characters are so overpowered and over leveled for anything in the content, even Spiral Abyss, that it just doesn't matter. And then they give us these other events that are just like, they're just like running errands, busy work that you don't want to do, with more dialogue than it should actually be there. Literally, I'm just mashing the X button to get through the dialogue because it doesn't matter. They put more effort in the dialogue than they do the actual events and the rewards that you're going to get from it. Let that sink in. Whoever the writers are over at MiHoYo, they need to be working on the rewards. Because they're going to put way more effort into it and thought process than whoever is in charge of the rewards over there.
Exactly.
I think as of right now, the state of Genshin Impact is in not the best shape, state, whatever you want to call it. I think there needs to be a lot of changes done. I think there is a lot of things that need to be quality of life stuff that need to be implemented. There needs to be content that we can really enjoy, that you can't just, run through within the first 15 minutes of it dropping. I mean, the Moonlight Merriment was barely out when I was streaming, and people were like, yeah, I got the tuna doing, big PB. I'm like, how? The event literally just dropped. How do you have it already? And it's because people can run through these events mindlessly, and it's not difficult. I don't know, Cameo. And the thing about it is, I hate that these podcasts are always so, like, as of late, super negative, man. And I hate that we can't be more positive and that we're not celebrating something super amazing right now. It's frustrating to say the least, right?
Yeah. Hopefully these times will pass and we'll get, improvements to the game that we can actually have a good conversation about.
I think what needs to happen right now, which, to be quite honest with you, I think it's going to be tough to save face. I think it's going to be tough to get any people that quit back. But I think what they need to do now is, I think they need to go on Twitter, if they haven't already. I'm refreshing my page. I think they need to go on Twitter and they need to do an apology post acknowledging the community and their upsetness and what's going on.
Definitely.
I think they need to try and come out with some type of better rewards and try and really correct this it's a travesty.
Yeah,
Cameo.
definitely.
It's really a travesty.
Yeah, and we do have that, or we should have that live stream coming up this weekend, Friday. Maybe, don't get your hopes up, but maybe they'll address it there.
What's the live stream for?
We should be having the 2.2 live stream on Friday. Hasn't been announced yet, so don't quote me on that. But normally it happens this time of the update.
So we should be getting information on that.
We should be either maybe tonight or tomorrow, but it should be tonight, I think.
And hopefully they do say something. Hopefully they do acknowledge something. But once again, like Cameo said, don't get your hopes up. Keep your expectations very low. But at the same time, really quickly, guys, I do want to say that, I wish I was wrong. I hate that these podcasts as of late has been negative. Once again, on this podcast, we have to cover the relevant topics. We have to talk about what the community is talking about and what's going on. And, it's just unfortunate that this is what is going on right now. And it's unfortunate that this is what we have to talk about. Hopefully, in future podcasts, we can be excited about what's happening. If we do get the live stream and there's like a Ganyu rerun announcing, trust me, I'm going to be super happy about that. I'm going to be excited. We're going to be talking about it and we're going to be really positive. But there's just the state of Genshin Impact right now. There's nothing to be positive about. I think the most positive thing that comes out of this is all those fantastic, artists, cosplayers, and animators that came out to give free advertisement for some half-ass rewards, Cameo, for some lackluster, half-ass, terrible, no thought put into it rewards. I am so sorry, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Less than $5 worth of currency, so.
This promotional video makes me upset. Toyo Fair. Anyways, Cameo, I think we're gonna go ahead and end it on there. Do you have any last words, or was there anything else you wanted to go ahead and tackle before we head on out?
I just want to say, hopefully the game gets better. I mean, we all had this grand idea of how the game would be in the beginning. Hopefully it returns to something similar to that. Hopefully this is just a rough patch we're going through, and there's gonna be light at the end of the tunnel.
I agree, and I'll go ahead and end this by stating once again, thank you guys for all the support for the entire year on the channel. The channel never experienced such growth until Genshin Impact, so I do have a lot to be thankful for and a lot to be grateful for. And if it wasn't for you guys supporting the channel the way you do, the channel wouldn't be where it is right now, which we are still a small community. We are still a small channel relative to others, but I couldn't be more appreciative. I couldn't be more thankful and grateful, and you guys are absolutely amazing. And to other content creators, if you're watching this podcast and you stayed up until this point, just know that my doors are always open. Whether you want to reach out to me on Discord or you want to reach out to me in my email, you can always contact me. If you want to come on the podcast and just express your opinions, vent your frustrations, or just want to talk about the game in general, to have a different outlet, reach out to me. Direct message me. I'm always open. You guys can always reach out to me, email me. We'll get you on the podcast and you can chat it up with me and Cameo, and we could just talk about the game, and we can, maybe get more behind the scenes of who you are as a content creator, because that's the problem with content creators. A lot of people don't understand who they really are. A lot of times they're seeing a different side than what that content creator really is in real life. And I mentioned that before. A lot of times on this podcast, you get further. And further comes out, and further is in the live streams, further is in the videos. But behind the scenes, when everything closes, when you stop the recording, or when you turn off the live stream, or when you close your laptop or you shut your computer down, a lot of times it's a different person afterwards. And you don't know what people are going through, and you don't know what everybody has going on in their life, and it can be very stressful. When the camera's on, when the video's recording, when the live stream's happening, you're getting for the most part, a very positive, very energetic person. But when all of those things are off, when the lights are off, when the laptop closes, when things shut down, that person might be dealing with a lot of things behind the scenes. So before you leave that negative comment, or before you're too critical, or before you think you know who that individual is, just understand that there might be something going on that you don't know. And there might be more to that individual than you think you know. Always keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and leave the podcast with that. And for any of you that are going through anything, for any of you that are feeling burnt out, just know that you're not alone, that this podcast is hopefully here to help. And hopefully this gives you an outlet to escape whatever might be happening for the time that this podcast is running for you. Just know I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Remember to always stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of the podcast. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.